When you first get into business, one of the first things that you're gonna realize is that the money don't come till later.
What are some of the mistakes that you've done on your journey?
Money management. A person that knows how to manage their money will grow anything. Managing your finances has a lot to do with just saying no to yourself. In the beginning, you want so much because you didn't grow up with everything, so you're deprived a lot of things. So now you're making money and it's like, oh no, I'm getting all the Jordans that come out. One of the biggest mistakes I made was buying myself a BMW.
Peace and power, friends. Please join us as we welcome a true entrepreneur and community pillar. With 20 years of experience and dedication to his craft, our guest has built an amazing barbershop called House of Experts. He's a recipient of the prestigious Community Service Award. His contribution not only helps to give people shape-ups, but he also helped to shape and mold people's lives. He's a celebrity barber. He's cut Wyclef, Arsenal the battle rapper, and many more. His business has survived and thrived through the recession and the pandemic. Please welcome House of Experts own John.
Hey.
Peace.
Hey, my boy, what's up, man?
What's going on, fam?
Chilling.
Bro, you have a very, very amazing resume. You've been in business for 20 years.
Thank God, yeah.
What's the secret to your success and longevity when it comes to business?
I mean, there is no secret. It's not like I knew that I was going to be here 20 years later. I didn't open up with the mentality of closing before that, but, you know, I didn't open up knowing what I was going to do or knowing what I was doing. I learned as I went. Nobody taught me. I didn't go to school for business or finances or none of that. You know, I basically learned as I went, and I'm here, still learning, still going.
Wow. So one thing that I'm hearing, you know, here at Raw Success, we strive to highlight the formula to success. And we define as success by a person's determination and desire to become whatever it is. So what I'm hearing from what you said is you've had a learning growth mindset.
Yeah, a lot of mistakes were made in the beginning. A lot of mistakes was made. I was only 22 years old. The day I got the key to the barbershop, I had just turned 22.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were 22 years old, and again, I want to say that's amazing, not to sound redundant, but because we got to remember this was a time before social media.
Yeah.
See, right now in this day and age, everybody's promoting entrepreneurship and all this, that, and the third.
MySpace wasn't even active yet. It came shortly after.
Wow. So at 22 years old, how did you develop that mindset?
It's not a mindset I developed at 22. I always had it. I had the name to my barbershop years before I opened up. The name to my shop was actually my boy Keith. Shout out Keith. He living in Cali now in San Diego. That actually, I had a notebook. The notebook was full of names of what I thought I was gonna name it. And then one day at the barbershop that I was working at that time, Loquillos, shout out Loquillo. He was like, one night, he was like, John, I think you should name it House of Experts. And I was like, that's it right there. House of Experts.
Wow. You know, one thing that I see that's consistent with this formula to success is having a predetermined idea and then being willing to work at it. So what I'm hearing also is that you manifested that, because here you are, 22 years old, working at Loquillos, and you had a notebook filled with names that you would name your future barbershop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was like a little notebook. We was coming up with names, writing them down. I couldn't think of nothing, and then he did. Yeah. So I was like, oh, yeah, I like that. And I loved it from the door.
Wow. Who introduced you to cutting hair?
My dad. My dad is a mechanic. He specializes in transmission. So what happened was that I wasn't really scholastic. I didn't care for school like that. My dad saw that. And one day my dad was like, I'm taking you to a barbershop tomorrow. If you like what you see and you like it, I'm gonna get you with all your stuff for it. So that Saturday morning, woke up, my dad took me, it was like 7 a.m. Back then, the barbershops opened really early, you know? So it was like, we driving over there 7 a.m. I get to the shop, I spent the whole day there. I was that little dude getting the barbers, their meals at Burger King, sleeping up here and there and stuff like that, nothing crazy, but that day I went back home and I was like, yeah, I want to try it. I want to do this. The next day, Sunday, my dad bought me everything. And he didn't buy me like clippers. He bought me official clippers, official shaper machine, official products. My father got me a chair so that I could practice at the house on my friends and stuff like that. On the way to the house, to the barbershop, he was like, look, you got a lot of friends. You got, you have the ability to create a clientele. If you cut 5 of your friends for $10 each, you'll have $50. So I said, all right, let's do it. So then that's exactly how I started. I started with cutting my friends, cutting my brother. First person I ever cut. First person I ever said practice on me was my dad. Wow. First haircut I ever gave was on my dad.
Yo, shout out to your pops for having the wisdom to know that, okay, my son may not be successful in his academics, but I know he can be successful at something. Mm-hmm. And I think, initially, or essentially I should say, cutting hair is a skill. And I think that that's something that we need to focus on. I think a lot of people think that just because somebody's not successful in school, that they're failures. But that's not necessarily the case, because here you are, someone who was not, someone who was quote unquote considered successful in academics, but you are a successful businessman.
Absolutely. I also appreciate my brothers. Both my brothers was definitely my boy Alex Mejia. He was there every week. We was in high school while I was learning. So who wants to go to high school
with a messed up haircut?
With a messed up haircut. Them dudes was in my chair every week. Fidel, his brothers. I had a little clientele. My neighbors, Face and Franklin, shout out to them. I had a nice wave of people that was constantly getting a haircut with me. So it helped me grow as a barber a lot faster. And then a week later, after I got my chair, or 2 weeks later, the barbershop where I actually went to go practice at, all the barbers had left because they went to open up their own barbershop. Well, one of them opened up their own barbershop and the rest followed. So the owner popped up at my house because he actually knew my dad. Shout out Pujol. And he knew my dad, and he was like, hey, bring your clippers tomorrow. You're going to start at the barbershop.
How old were you at that time?
I was like 14. Yeah, I was like 14, man, weighing 120 pounds. And, bro, that's when it started. And we talking about when barbershops didn't even open on Mondays or Sundays. It was from Tuesday to Saturday. My first week ever at a barbershop, that week, my first week ever, I made $100. $100 I made. I'm percentage, 70-30. And my 70% equaled out without the tips to $100. I spent it on Sunday.
Now, I know you're from Patterson. We're from the same place. How did you dodge the negativity? The street stuff per se.
I mean, I found out early on that the street stuff wasn't for me. I knew I was, raised in the hood, obviously, but there's a difference between being a street nigga and a hood nigga. Damn, pardon me. But there's a difference.
Yeah.
The one is completely different from the other. You both grew up in the same place, same town, but you learn quickly that what's for you and what's not. And I learned enough about myself to know, pa que yo daba, and the consequences.
Yeah, I think that it's that self-awareness, I think it's key to be successful in any area of life, because that self-awareness tells you who you are, who you're not, but also it allows you to be conscious of your mistakes and what you need to fix, so to speak. How did you develop that self-awareness at such an early age?
That's the thing. I can't even give myself all that credit. I thank God for guiding me through my whole life. Because if I say I had self-awareness, that would take away, that would take away giving him the credit for it. No, I didn't have self-awareness. I was actually really that dumb that I would have actually tried it. God just knew how to steer me. You get what I'm saying? I'd rather say that. Yeah. I wasn't that smart. You know what I mean? I don't think anybody really is.
How did you cross over from being just someone who cuts hair to being a business owner? Because I've met people who've cut hair for many years but never became a business owner. So tell us about that journey from being someone cutting hair to then choosing to become a business owner.
Choosing to become a business owner, at first I was doing it for the wrong reasons, doing it for the money. I wanted the money. When you first get into business, one of the first things that you're going to realize is that the money don't come till later. And in order to get to the money, you have to be consistent and go through the trials that you will go through. In the beginning, I was 22 years old. I was doing everything wrong. If you go by my experience, this is why I thank God so much, because of my age and the level of ignorance that you have at that age, 22 years old, I shouldn't be here right now. I really shouldn't. One of the things I learned in the beginning was how to make that transition from a barber to an owner, because both have very different mentalities and they have very different perspectives on why and what's going on in the barbershop. You get what I'm saying? When you're a barber only, I remember just being a barber, you don't take the owner into consideration as to why he's doing things or why he's not doing things or why he should do things. You're only looking at it from a barber's perspective because it's what's going to benefit you. You get what I'm saying? You're not thinking about that owner.
Yeah, don't lose your thought, please. I had that awakening or that insight when I became a landlord. From making that transition to a renter to becoming a landlord, I then realized, so like what I like to say is, like, I remember when I was a renter, I used to be like, man, why does landlord buying these cheap locks? You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember having that, these cheap locks, these cheap everything, right? Until I became a landlord and realized, like, oh, okay, I get it. Because most times tenants don't take care of your stuff.
They're not gonna.
So why buy the fancy, most expensive things when it's better to just buy the generic, affordable things, so to speak? So I definitely get that.
Yeah.
Tell us more. Yeah, about the transition.
Oh, the transition was rough, man. When I opened up my barbershop, let me tell you, when I opened up my barbershop, I had 8-9 chairs, like about 10 barbers, 11 barbers. Everybody was learning. The only person in the barbershop that had any type of experience cutting was me. You get me? Everybody was learning. I would explain the haircuts to people through the mirror and through text messages. So if you were sitting down in the chair and you didn't speak English, I would explain the haircut to the barber in Spanish, or vice versa, or text messages. The barbers will align clippers. Like, okay, I'm going to go this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this so I can erase this line, put some gel on. It was a hustle. We was trying to, but out of that, some great barbers came out, man. Shout out my man Javi from Above Excellence, who held me down and is one of the main reasons why House of Experts today, that whole lineup I had, Javi, Jeff, Melvin, Alex Pena, Joel, Amaury, and whoever I failed to mention, I'm sorry. If you come up in my mind between this interview, I'll make sure I'll bring you up. But those were all friends. So imagine learning how to become that businessman, become that entrepreneur with friends. It's not that easy either. You get what I'm saying? Because there's certain lines are gonna be crossed, and you get what I'm saying. So it wasn't that easy, but I do thank God that it was with them that I got to learn how to run a barbershop and how to be an owner and how to manage people and young people at that, stuff like that. I really appreciate that, man. My man Javi really held me down. Mike Bones, shout out Mike Bones. Remy. A lot of people learned how to cut there. I'm pretty much cool with almost all of them today.
Wow. So in essence, your business also became the fertile ground for greatness in others.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And them and me.
Dope.
You
were talking about the mindset, the difference between a worker and a business owner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what are some of the differences?
I'm gonna say this: there's nothing wrong with being a worker. There's nothing wrong with that. There are people that work and make more money than owners. A lot of times the worker gets to leave with his check, but the owner has to take care of whatever broke down and stays with nothing. So, there's nothing wrong with being a worker. But one of the differences is that when a worker leaves his job, that job is no longer in their mind. They don't care what happens in there. The owner is there 24/7. His mind is on it. When something happens, the owner feels it. When something happens with a worker, the owner feels it. When a worker leaves, the owner feels it. When a worker has to get fired, the owner feels it. That's one of the hardest things to do in business, is actually fire somebody that you was working with and you built a relationship with, and now you have to let this person go for XYZ reasons. I feel like that's one of the things I suck at the most, and one of the things that was the hardest to do was things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. What would, us being a show that's about learning, what would make someone get fired? And I like to say a person who gets fired, depending on the situation, most of the time they fire themselves. Like if you're showing up to work late, or if you're not growing and not doing a great job, you're essentially getting yourself fired. But a lot of people have the mentality, oh, they fired me, right? So what would be a reason that you would fire somebody?
Disrespect. A lot of times you lose more for not firing somebody because that person is creating a toxic environment, and other people will leave because you didn't make the decision to fire somebody. So you might lose everybody keeping that one person.
Ah, that's powerful.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So firing is important because it could be detrimental to your business, to what you got going on.
So you I know you said it's one of the things that you suck at and you struggle with doing. So what did you do? You just developed the ability by just doing it?
I still don't. I suck at it.
Yeah.
I suck. But right now I got a great team.
Yeah.
Learning how to pick your people is one of the best things too. You know what I mean? You don't just take anybody. One of the hardest things to do in the barber industry, is actually find. Well, any industry, good help is hard to find. But this isn't like hiring somebody to run a register. You could hire anybody. You got to actually find somebody that knows how to cut, has a clientele. That's why a lot of times I'd rather just grab somebody that wants to learn.
Yeah. I'm super inspired by what you said, because here goes somebody that's been in business for 20 years, successful business owner, and who's been at the craft for 20 years. And still you're admitting, I'm uncomfortable doing these things. And you're still here, and you're still willing to do it. So what I'm learning from that is, like, even though I may not be the best at something, or maybe something is uncomfortable for me to do, like if it needs to be done, I still have to do it. It's almost like you have to override that. Do you agree?
Yeah, you do, or you'll get forced into it. Situations will force you into it. You know what I mean? You're not just gonna. You're not just gonna. Sometimes you don't. You're not doing something because you want to. You're doing it because you left. They left you no choice. You got forced into being that person, and that sucks to be forced into being that person because you couldn't just do it yourself naturally. Because you let your emotions dictate your decisions, which is something that you're human. Your emotions are gonna dictate a lot of your decisions. You get me? Some way or somehow. I've learned not to make decisions when I'm happy, too sad, or angry. I wait till I'm chilling. You get what I'm saying? In my car, chilling, driving by myself. When you're talking to yourself. If you don't talk to yourself, I recommend you to. Sit down and evaluate yourself, and you think about the day, what happened. Hold yourself accountable for your decisions, for your actions, and then you make a decision when you calm and chilling, and you know that you're not doing it emotionally driven off out of anger or too happy. Those are, what? They say that making a decision when you're angry are the worst ones, but making a decision when you're very happy is bad too.
Explain.
You be wanting to renege. Sometimes, and that's part of like learning how to say no. Like I might tell you something because I was overly excited, but then, I've learned to say, yo, you know what? Yo, my bad, bro. When I made that decision and I told you that, I was happy, bro. I was just in the moment. I was excited. I was soup. And you know what? I changed my mind.
Yeah. What are some of the mistakes or the major mistakes that you've done on your journey?
Money management. Yo, let me tell you something. A person that knows how to manage their money will grow anything if they know how to be a people person. Knowing how to manage your money is very, very important. More important than the science, some of the science they teach you. More important than some of the math they teach you. More important than than going to gym. More important than a lot of the stuff that they teach you in school. Money management should definitely be like a criteria.
It's interesting. One of the questions I got from our audience is, how do you manage finances and growth? So perfect segue.
Yeah, first you gotta have something to manage, right? So people be thinking, let me tell you something. If you live in a house with siblings and one bathroom, you're already somewhat going towards business. You're negotiating. You're negotiating who's going to the bathroom first, who's taking a shower first, how long you're going to last. So you're exercising certain business muscles early on. So managing your finances has a lot to do with just saying no to yourself. Saying no to your emotions, yourself. In the beginning, you want so much because you didn't grow up with everything, so you're deprived a lot of things. So now you're making money, and it's like, oh, no, I'm getting all the Jordans that come out. I'm getting this. Oh, what? This leather just came out? Nah, I'm going to get that. Oh, this just came out? Yeah, I'm going to get that. One of the biggest mistakes I made was buying myself a BMW. My first lease, a BMW in 2007. Only had 3 years of business in me. Went off and bought a BMW. One of the dumbest things. It felt great. But when I realized exactly what I was doing and why I was doing it, I had to be like, oh, I bought this for the wrong reasons. As good as it felt, you get me? I bought it for the wrong reasons at the wrong time. Because the time is going to come where you're going to buy the car. You're going to do everything you want. The time is going to come. But wait for that time, and it might not be in 3 years. After you open up, you still have a lot of growing to do. You get what I'm saying?
Yo,
so manage your money.
Yo, you are the second person I ever heard talk about buying a BMW was a mistake. So our producer, visually focused, my man Lewis, he's in the studio with us now. He also, because I'm like, wow, he got a fly car, it's amazing. I'm like, man, he was like, yo, I'm paraphrasing. Man, that was one of the biggest mistakes I did, True.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Never judge a person's success by the things that they have. You get me? Because anybody could buy things and have nothing. You get me?
Ooh, say that again.
You get me though? You could have clothes. It's easy. Anybody could buy clothes. Anybody could buy jewelry. Anybody could buy a car. Just because you have the money doesn't mean you couldn't afford it. You get what I'm saying? You doesn't mean you're gonna be able to afford the maintenance. Doesn't mean you're gonna be able to afford the upgrades. Because if you buy this now, you're gonna want to buy this later. I as far as clothes and stuff like that, I like using my friend's stuff. Like shout out Proclaim.
Yeah, my brother Rick.
Hey.
We need you on the show, bro. I know Sunday's an important day for your faith and your family, but yo, we're waiting for you, man. Shout out
Rick. So I feel like I love his clothing because when I wear it, I feel like I'm dressed in purpose. They always have a message, and they always get acknowledging, where my strength come from. So I really like wearing like his stuff like that.
Yeah, man, and thank you. We have merch as well, so thank you for supporting independent businesses.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Thank you for that.
Like yesterday, I was at the car show. I was wearing one of his shirts, and one of the first things people said to me when I walked in wasn't hi, wasn't where are you going, where are you gonna set up, is yo, I like your shirt. All it said was God's work. You get me? 2 words, small too. But this is the first thing anyone acknowledged me in yesterday when I walked into the car show. It wasn't hi, how you doing, where you going, who can I help you, what's up. It was, oh, yo, nice shirt. You get me? And it wasn't Burberry, it wasn't Gucci.
Right. You don't need that stuff.
It was
to
Proclaim
shine,
though.
Indeed.
You get me?
Shout out to Proclaim. What do you say to people who say, I struggle with discipline. I want to manage my finances. I want to run a business. I want to manage my emotions, but discipline, I just don't have the discipline.
Yeah.
What do you say? What's your remedy to that?
I could say I didn't have. There's a difference between not having discipline and not wanting to have discipline, because you want to keep making the same mistakes that you're making. I wasn't the most disciplined person. I still struggle with discipline. You get me? A lot of times I'm being disciplined and stuff that I do because I have to. I have to wake up, take my daughter to school, leave, pick her up on time, take her on time, go to practices on time, go to games on time. It's okay if you don't like discipline, but it's going to get to a point the older you get where it's either you submit to discipline or you'll end up under a bridge somewhere or really not doing nothing with yourself.
Yeah, what I tell people is when they say they don't have discipline, you have it. It's just something you have to cultivate. I think people think that, it's automatic. No, it's something you strengthen with time. Yeah. If you really want what you say you want, and
it takes discipline to not be disciplined.
Right.
You feel me? You gotta be super convicted to not do something that benefits you.
Yeah. Let me ask you, so this is another question from our audience. How do you survive all the different challenges and trends? Because you've been in the business before the social media era. You've also been in business and you survived the recession, the so-called pandemic. You survived all of this. How? How did you survive all of the different transitions?
Again, I'm not gonna say I survived. I'm gonna say God brought me through. I survived a recession. And a pandemic. God saw me through everything, and I can't really take the credit because I'm not that smart, disciplined, organized. I'm not that lucky. You get me? But In order for God to help you, you got to help yourself. So yeah, I'm not completely disorganized. I'm not completely undisciplined. I'm not completely irresponsible. You get me? You do have to play your part, put your part in, but adapt. You have to adapt with the times, not the culture that they're trying to brainwash us with or force on us, but you do have to adapt with the time and with change. You know, you would like you would look like an idiot right now walking around with super baggy pants, super long white tee. You get what I'm trying to say, and baggy, but you have to adapt with the times, you know? So I adapt. I adapt with the times, I adapt with the moments. Um, you know, if 1 minute you're eating out every day, but I can also adapt and only eat if they offer me food and wait till I get home. You just gotta learn to adapt. You know, it's great to eat out and get your filet mignon, your T-bone steak, your grilled chicken, whatever it is that you like to eat, your salmon, but it's not always gonna be, you know, sunny days.
Yeah, they say that the species that survive, this is science, is not the most intelligent, but the one who adapts.
Yeah, oh, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that
So you
makes
gotta
sense.
adapt to your environment, adapt to your situation. You know, don't look at yourself as a victim and keep it pushing.
That's
Stop
right.
thinking that you gotta have everything in order for you to start something. You know, I never had what I needed to start anything or be where I'm at today. I never had what I needed, you know, but I started. You ever seen that meme on Instagram where someone's going up a ladder and there's a hand coming in, like putting in
Next rung.
the next rung to for he could keep climbing. You know, that's me.
Yeah, yeah. So what I'm learning from you, you know, because I'm an entrepreneur as well, is start where you are, right? Be present. Start with what you have, and the next rung will appear.
Yes,
As long
absolutely.
as long as you're willing to keep climbing.
Absolutely. If you want to start a clothing brand, you only got 3 shirts. Well, then sell the 3 shirts. Yeah. And with the money you get from the 3 shirts, you buy more shirts.
I think, you know, and I think that the issue with a lot of people, including myself, is that we're comparing ourselves with the wrong people. So you only have 3 shirts, but you're comparing yourself to fear of God.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
it's like you're not there yet.
No.
And we don't know their story, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like, just start where you are.
Start
with
where
what
you are,
have.
with where you at, and with what you have.
So you started with your father taking you to the barbershop, buying you some equipment, and your friends
started
around.
learning. Yep, started with that. Then I ended up with a chair at a barbershop, and I was there for years. And I went from one shop in Passaic to my boy shop in Passaic. Shout out, you know, Go, Ali Mo, Julio, Billy. Those were definitely, you know, they have a lot to do with my foundation as a barber. You get what I'm saying? And then from there, I started cutting in Patterson. Once I felt comfortable with my skills or whatever, I came to Patterson because it's where I'm from. Mm-hmm. So I started cutting at Loquillos, you know. So my process as a barber was long. I didn't open up a shop 2-3 years later. And I didn't open up a shop being a lazy barber, not showing up at the barbershop, being late, not being, you know, what can I say? Not being, you can't, you know, when you can't depend on reliable, not being reliable. You get what I'm saying? So once I got my clientele up and I saw that I have a clientele that follows me, I can actually open up a shop and maintain the bills with my customers alone. You get what I'm saying? So I did that.
Yeah, and you know, I think that's so important again in this day and age with the microwave mentality. You know, you showed and proved through your journey by putting the work in. Mm-hmm. You got the reps in. I think a lot of people are misinformed about the process.
Yeah, the process. When you're going through the process, it doesn't feel like the process. until you pass the process, until you see yourself somewhere where you're like, oh shit, oh I'm sorry, but the process is not, it's not, you're not gonna know you're in it while you're going through it. It's gonna suck to be in it sometimes.
Yo, it's so amazing. I love being on this side of the table, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because I could see the universal gems in all things. So I'm a blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right?
Nice.
And when I received my blue belt, I didn't feel like a blue belt. I still feel like a white belt, but obviously my instructors knew I was a blue belt. And then it wasn't until somebody else knew, shout out to Sub Force out in Lyndhurst too, great Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school. It wasn't until a white belt came to the school and we sparred, then I saw like, oh snap. But while I was in it, while I was in the process, I didn't feel like I really elevated to the next level, even though I got my blue belt. Even though I was ranked. So
because you was just focused on
I'm in the process.
Yeah.
I'm just in it.
A lot of people say trust the process. My thing was always no. I don't trust the process. I feel like the process is an inanimate object. I trust God in the process, and that's really what blinds you. Keep your eye focused on the goal.
Yeah. And what is the
goal?
What is the goal for you?
The goal for me is to leave something, where people could live off of after you. I got a daughter. I got, your kids are always going to be your number one priority.
Yeah.
They're the ones, your kids, your nephews, your nieces. You want to leave that legacy where one day, your picture will be over a fireplace and it's like, oh, that's Uncle John. Oh, that's Papa John. He broke the chains of poverty in our family. He kept going. He was an entrepreneur. That's why I look up to like my uncles and my dad a lot. 7 brothers, highly united. All their wives are together. All their kids are like this with each other. And one of my father's brother is the oldest one is a surgeon, a medical surgeon. He teaches and graduates other people to become surgeon. 2 out of 3 of his kids 3 out of 4 of his kids are doctors. One of his daughters is a doctor. The son is a doctor. The youngest daughter is actually in school to become a veterinarian. You get what I'm saying? Which I would consider a doctor as well for animals. So I feel like, and then all his other brothers are entrepreneurs.
With the lack of unity, being a plague in our communities, especially in places where you and I come from, and you coming from a family that's so tight knit, how? What's missing in other families that your family has that caused y'all to be so successful as a family dynamic? Now, I'm not talking about the entrepreneurship, and no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about being able to keep the family together and keep the unity and having the fathers, the positive masculinity at homes. How was your family able to do that?
Yo, to be honest with you, we never didn't have it, so it was like normal.
Yes.
You get me? It's just normal. It to us.
They led by example.
And it was just normal to us. Me and my brothers were like very tight. You get me? We love and care for each other's kids a lot. I feel like we're like that. We just like that, and it's just normal to us. What's not normal to us is when we see people that aren't.
What do you think is the reason there's so much dysfunction in people's homes?
I don't know, man. I would probably have to go with substances, illegal substances, liquor, culture, accountability. Just, we living in the times now where it's like people have made toxic relationships popular. They got TV shows out of it. You got Christian and her, what's his name? Blueface.
Right.
You look at that relationship and it's like, why would you give him a show? Why would you make that an example of a relationship. You get what
Right.
I'm saying? Like, I would rather, they should have given a show like that to like DJ Envy and his wife, and made them an example of what a family is. You go on their his wife pages, you see a classy woman, you see family pictures. Everybody's dressed like the same, very well coordinated. You get to meet his family. They very well spoken, very polite, great kids. They also, have fun and live but they're very tight knit, and that's a very beautiful example of what a family is and should be
Yeah.
like. So it's like, but they rather make Blueface and Christian, give them a TV show, and
Right. And what people don't understand too is how much that perpetuates the cycle. Because I believe that one of the most important things is our people need to see it. And then the next level is to experience it. So for example, like I grew up, relatively in a low income household. So what I did as soon as I had children and they were able to think for themselves, and I would take them to certain neighborhoods because I wanted them to see the size of the house. Not that matters
yeah,
greatly,
no, I get it,
obviously,
I get
right?
it, I get
But
it.
I just want them to see how other people live to create that possibility in their minds.
And step outside of their world they're in.
Indeed. So I think, like you said, if we seen shows like with loving families,
Like
positive
Family Matters,
families, right, with great
Full
culture,
House.
right, unity, it's like, okay, I can emulate that. I can
Mm-hmm.
replicate that. Yeah, nah, that's very powerful. Speaking about DJ Envy, one of the questions that I got, actually, multiple people asked this question about your relationship with flipping NJ and everything like that.
Well, right now there is no relationship with Flip and NJ. I haven't seen him or spoke to him for a while. What happened in that situation was sad. It affected a lot of people. It affected me. It affected a lot of people in a negative way. Nobody got affected by that in a positive way. And it's just sad. I can't really speak much on certain things because there's open cases and stuff like that. But what he did wasn't cool, and not something. Well, I would say that one of the things you could, if you want to take away something from that, take away that not everything that glitters is gold.
Got it.
You get me? There was a lot of stuff there that just not cool. There is no relationship.
Yeah,
You get what I'm saying?
indeed. How do you balance work and your personal life? That was another question from the audience.
Damn, you want me to tell you something about balance that I've learned? That balance is never gonna be like this. Balance is always gonna be a little bit here, a little bit tilted to the right, a little bit to the left. It's never gonna be straight. You're never gonna have completely balanced like that. The goal is to not be too much to the right or too much to the left. There's always gonna be a time where I'm working a lot more than being with my family. There's always gonna be a time when I'm with my family a lot more than I am working. But you just gotta maintain balance. Don't go too far to the right. Don't go too far to the left. Don't work so much that you're never there, and you're not raising your kids. You're just watching them grow up. Don't be with your family so much that you're not working. You're not making any money, because you definitely need money to have a family.
Indeed.
Just there is no such thing as having complete perfect balance in anything.
What advice would you give someone who's just starting out in business? They have an idea.
Don't wait. Like we said earlier, do not wait to have everything you need to start. Start from where you at right now. Because right now, if you have an idea, start now. Start by writing down what you're going to do and how you're going to do it, and go after it every day. There's a lot of things that you have to do. There's a lot of ideas, a lot of stuff towards your ideas that's going to come into your mind of how you want to do and what you want to do. You're going to get to do all of those things, every single one of them. And some of them you're not gonna do not because you couldn't, but because you realized that it was gonna be a waste of time. But start from where you was at, and don't start from where you at right now. And do not sit here and think that you're not succeeding because it's taking you a long time to get there. Don't get mad because a friend didn't buy your product, or a friend. I have friends that got haircuts with me, but I also have friends that didn't. I got friends that I've never cut before. I got friends that have only gotten a cut with me. But don't base your success or anything on things, or don't sit here and not start because you don't have this or you don't have that. Just start with where you at. Start with where you at. You know, I got friends that they bought T-shirts from a bodega, printed their design on it, and sold that. And they was out here selling shirts that said Gildan in the back. You know, and their brand was in the front, but the shirt was somewhere else. But they was making sales. You know, don't think you're gonna start either and you're gonna sell a shirt for $200. A lot of times people start and they tell you, yo, support my business. Yeah, man, I got you, man. How much? Yeah, $250, $200. Like, they designer right away. They just decided they a designer. You get what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't even buy a t-shirt for $200 now with the money. So just start from wherever you at. Stop thinking that you need this, that, and the third. You really don't. Starting is, once you start, see it through. And wait years. I'm 20 years in and still learning. When I opened up my shop, I had big back TV. I had no TVs, first of all. And then when I did get the TVs, I had the big back. I remember I didn't have great chairs. My chairs were like those. Like these. They wasn't reclining back. You get me? They wasn't full. I bought used chairs. I looked at a station that I wanted, and I replicated those stations to as much as possible with someone else that made cabinets. So I made a cabinet with one drawer. I bought a mirror and framed it to match the cabinet. Nothing, nowhere near the actual station I wanted. So the actual station I wanted at that time for one of them was $1,500. You get me? The one I actually ended up with was like $80. And like about $105 with the mirror.
Yeah, so
you know?
definitely. I hear the message. It's about being resourceful and starting.
Keep it clean. You don't gotta be all fancy or that. Just keep it clean. You know, I didn't have money to even buy paint, so I waited till, you know, like Lowe's or Home Depot. If they open up a can and they return it, they have the gallon out there for like $10 and a gallon for $5. Buy that paint. Paint your shop just white, and that's it. Just start. All that matters is that you start. It's not about how you start, it's about how you finish, right?
Let's get it.
So just start, and you just know in your heart that that's not going to be how you finish. And if something didn't succeed, that wasn't your lane, then you just go somewhere else. At least you did it. At least you could say you did it. Don't be scared to start something else. You get what I'm saying?
I love it. So as I start to land the plane, as I like to say, I definitely got to get to this question. Someone wants to know, out of all the celebrities who you cut, who's your favorite and why? And then I want to ask you, how did you develop yourself to become a celebrity barber?
Damn, the thing is that my favorite person is whoever I'm cutting at the moment, because you're giving me an opportunity to feed my family. So, you know, that's like, everybody I cut is a great moment. We sitting there, we chatting, we cutting. You know, you learn a lot from people. So I like cutting everybody. It's something that I love to do, period. You get me? I enjoy cutting. I enjoy people. I enjoy sitting down, politicking and talking. So, like, I really don't have a favorite. Like, everybody, like, I cutting at the grid, and we always have great conversations. envy. We always have great conversations. I don't think I have a customer that I really don't have great conversations with. We always talking about something, and we chilling. I like all my customers.
I want to highlight the fact that the brother said that he enjoys what he does, which I've personally also noticed and experienced is an important tool or aspect to being successful. Not to say like, you don't have to love every single aspect of it, but there's a part of it that you do have to be enjoyed. That you mentioned in conversations. There's an aspect of whatever you do that has to fulfill you.
Yes, and love what you do. I love what I do. Do I love it every single time I'm doing it? No. Sometimes I'm doing it because I have to. I need to. It's how I eat.
Yeah.
But I enjoy it for the most part. Don't quit your job if you have one to just go start off a business and you haven't really even took the time out to, build the LLC. The simple parts that don't cost no money. Another thing is, too, you don't need an LLC to start your business. Don't let people fool you into thinking that. I didn't get an LLC till years after I started off as a sole proprietor. So you don't need an LLC. I didn't even know what an LLC was when I started, right? Or a sole proprietor. I learned as I went.
This is a man of action, clearly.
You get me? Yeah, I didn't. But when I started learning how to cut, there was a lot of information that I was missing. I didn't care. I just started cutting. Took those clippers and turned them on. There was no YouTube to Google anything. There was no information given to you like that, like it is now.
How did you elevate to the status of where now you have the type of clientele from famous people coming to you? What makes you special?
Again,
and let me clear that up. Not to say that because you have celebrities in your chair, you're special, right? Okay. What I'm saying is, what is the characteristic? What traits? What are you bringing so that people can see that there's something about you that is attracting that?
I'm gonna say, I can't take the credit for a lot of things. I thank God for putting me in the right places with the right people, right? But one of the things that I can say I do that I notice a lot of people don't is that I make myself available. I am available. When you call me to get a cut, I will be available. I will make myself available. We will figure out a time. And when you come get a cut, 9 out of 10 times, you don't have to wait for me to get there. I'm either already there or we're getting there at the same time. And there's going to be communication if I'm late. There's going to be communication if I'm not there. You're not going to walk in there and not see me there. You're going to know I'm not there before you get there. Most of the time. Not every time, but most of the time. And if you're not available, you're not going to make money in this business. You don't get paid by the hour.
I love that. As someone who respects punctuality and time, I'm grateful and thankful that you're like that.
When you told me to be here, I was parked outside for like 25 minutes before I told you I was here because I respect your time and I want my time respected.
Indeed.
So I was here on time, and I try to be on time with all of my barbers. With all of my customers, with my barber that cuts me, shout out Lewis. We always communicating. I'm on my way, 8, 7, I'm gonna be 10 minutes late. I'm gonna be 15 minutes late, which is why he's so successful in this, because he doesn't play with his time. Shout out all my barbers. They, most of them are very punctual with their time and with their customers, and I respect that. They honor the people sitting in their chair by respecting their time.
Indeed. You just received the prestigious Community Service Award. Tell us about that. And I want to say, before you received that award, I seen you in action.
Yeah.
Like, I seen you donating your time, and I heard your story. There was one point in time when you didn't have the money to donate, so you donated by giving haircuts. Mm-hmm. So tell us about that. Tell us about the importance of giving and everything.
If if you give, you shall receive, right? There's a scripture that says that. Giving, you shall receive. When I started doing all that stuff, and I really get that from my mother. My mother does that. My mother goes around giving food to the homeless and stuff like that, and I've seen that. My mom never looked for credit for doing it. I never knew there was even an award for that. Shout out Benji Wimberly, a big pioneer in the city of Patterson, who really gives back, you know, at another level. You know, he uses his position and his situation to really help out his community. He's from Patterson. He was the one that nominated me, that gave me the award for. He's in the fraternity, in the frat, Omega Sci-Fi. He's a Q. That's a very big organization, Black and Spanish men. And I really admire their work in the community. They have this thing at Eastside that they made me a part of, where they give out hundreds of clothing. People leave with bags of clothing from this event every year for over 30 years. They leave with bags of clothing, toys. Kids leave with bicycles. They added me on to that, and we cut hair at those events every year. And it's amazing. Like at Eastside High School, you're going through the CAF every year. Don't get mad if you're online waiting. There's really a lot of people in there. The Culinary Arts program at Eastside cooked the food for the homeless there that day. And for anybody who wants to eat, we cut hair in one of the classrooms. The auditorium is used to give out the toys. And that's just a few things. They also, like, Benji always has, like, he connects with Victor Cruz, who buys kids sneakers out of Foot Locker. Thanksgiving, you about to see all of that. Every Thanksgiving, every Christmas, every back to school, we're there. And we joined up with Wimberly now, which made it even bigger, because he's really somebody who does it at another level than I ever did. And I appreciate that. But if you want to make money, if you want to succeed, and it might sound stupid, but give. Stop thinking you're going to get paid right away. If you want to learn how to cut free.
You did mention in the beginning, and I want to unpack this. Thank you for saying that. It reminded me that something about starting a business for the wrong reasons.
Oh, yeah, because, when you start in a business, you're thinking more about the money than the process that it's going to take. You don't even know about the process, because even now in social media, a lot of times people see the end of the process. You get me? So you get to see people when they already made it. You get to see people when they actually made a sale. You don't get to see how hard it was for them to make that sale. You don't get to see how hard it was for them to develop that product, for them to get to where they at. There's a lot of stuff that you just do not get to see. So you see the end result, and you automatically think that you're not winning because of it. So I started a business off because I wanted money, and that was the main thing. But quickly I found out that, this isn't that, and if you look for money and everything, you're gonna miss out on a lot of opportunities, because a lot of opportunities come disguised as nothing that you think is gonna be. A lot of opportunities are you don't think there's gonna be any money in it. You might be cutting somebody for free today who might make it later. And while you cut him for free, he had a dream that he told you about. He had a career he was already chasing. And because he didn't have the money, and you missed out on the opportunity. Or you don't go cut somebody because they'll tell you, sometimes, like, if you're gonna go cut somebody, or anything that you do, if you want somebody to wear your product or anything, offer it for free. Especially if the person is a celebrity or has a lot of following. You know what I mean? A lot of people be like, oh, I'm not going to sweat that person because I don't sweat nobody because of this, that, and the third. Well, you call it sweating. I call it hustling.
Marketing.
Yeah. Marketing costs money. So you can't expect somebody to market your brand, post your brand, and pay you for it. You might be able to actually get that person back if you just gave it to them and let them wear it. Or cut them and let them shout you out. Not everything is going to come with a bag at the moment. The bag comes later. You get me? There was a lot of times when I was cutting, right? And I'm cutting a specific person. This person is famous. He's this, he's that. But the people that he's with aren't. And they don't have the money to give you the money he just gave me for a cut, right? But I would cut those people anyway for whatever they have if they had something. You get me? But I looked at it as if dude wants a cut and he's like, damn, I need a cut because you know I'm going to come here and cut you whether you got it or not. You might put a bug in his ear like, yeah, man, hit up John. Hit up John. So, you know, he could cut. Yeah, you know what, man, go ahead, hit him up.
Yeah. And, for me too, man, like I believe in one hand wash the other, both wash the face. Mm-hmm. So for me, like if someone looked out for me in any capacity, like I'm going to remember. I almost feel, I hope this doesn't sound negative, but I almost feel indebted to them. Like, wow, this person looked out for me. I have to do something to give back to that person. That means you're
grateful, right? A lot of people aren't. And sometimes the person that you're looking to reciprocate isn't. But plant that seed anyway. Because you might not reciprocate from them. And it doesn't matter. You planted that seed. You're reciprocated from someone else. You get what I'm saying? I don't have to eat from... You're not going to eat from every seed you plant the same day. So yeah, I plant a lot of seeds. As I live my life, the negative seeds get planted unconsciously. You're not perfect. You're gonna make mistakes, right? But every opportunity I get to plant a seed of good, I do. And I'm not worried about you reciprocating anything because mine is gonna come from God, so it's gonna reciprocate regardless.
One of the most profound things that one of my elders taught me is plant a seed, but don't sit there and watch it grow. Just plant the seed and keep it moving. And also understanding that, like in nature, and by no means I'm not a gardener, I'm not a farmer, but I have a mind. I understand how nature works. You got to understand that some seeds, they're going to grow a little bit, and that's it. Some seeds a bird is going to eat. Some seeds won't grow. Some seeds were planted in soil that wasn't fertile. But then there's some seeds that will sprout.
Yeah. And that's what matters. You know, there's this tree, right? The bamboo tree, I think it is. I think it's the bamboo tree where you plant it, right? I saw this on Facebook. Dude was talking about it. You plant it, or a coconut tree. You plant it, and it takes like 10 years, 5 years for it to break ground, right? But the once you plant a coconut, it might take 10 years, but after that, it's giving you coconuts for life. So that's a good thing about also giving back to your community, because you don't know which one of these kids one day is going to provide shade. One of these days, one of these kids, because let me tell you something about Patterson and inner cities and urban communities, whatever you want to call them. There's talent out there. There's a lot of drive, a lot of ambition, a lot of talent, and you never know who's going to be what. Look at Fetty Wap. Look at Knit the Grit.
Shout out Knit the Grit, straight from 10th Ave.
Biggest label to ever make it out of Patterson. They broke a Beatles record.
Wow, Fetty Wap I did not know that.
Yeah, he broke a Beatles record. He broke records. You get me? Right now, you know, the dude went diamond. Gold on damn near all his singles. And a kid from Patterson with one eye did that. You get what I'm saying? And a dude from 10th Ave was the label owner. Dude from the streets. Drug dealer.
Straight up.
You get what I'm saying? Took took a dude with one eye, and they made it happen. And when they went on tour, there was always somebody from Patterson on that stage with them. I remember that when they was on tour, every artist they had with them was from Patterson. You get what I'm saying? So shout out to RGF and that whole run, who really, really gave me a good boost in my career too.
Indeed.
Taking me with them. I was at the Grammys. You get what I'm saying? Cutting hair. To, like a pair of clippers, got me to a red carpet. You get what I'm saying? A pair of $60 clippers.
So how important is the ability to network and to work with others?
There's a saying, your net worth is your network. And for example, my boy Corey North, right? My boy Corey North and Diz. Networking with Corey brought Diz around. Diz introduced me to M-Eazy, which had me at Inside Power radio station cutting. So I don't know if you follow me, you'll notice that I was always at the radio station cutting hair at the radio station in the cabin, because networking with the right people, rubbing shoulders with the right people brought me there. Shout out to Diz, York Records. Have a lot to do with the boost in my career also. Corey North, the R&B Savage. If you haven't heard his music, go stream it. So networking is your net worth, because relationships got me to where I'm at. No one, whenever you hear somebody say, nobody helped me, I did it on my own, that's not true. You can't. Somebody had to consume your content for you to make it. So even they participated in your success.
Yeah.
So no one ever accomplished anything on their own.
I agree with you, bro. Like I always said, and I'm a successful person now, but as I start to grow and elevate, you will never hear me, and you can quote me on this, my brother, you'll never hear me say that I'm self-made. I've had too much support, too many people investing me, down from just mentors, from people just giving advice, from people buying a tea. I've gotten so much help that I can never utter those words out of my mouth that I'm self-made. No, I am made by the people.
Yeah, no one is self-made.
Indeed.
And no one, because I don't need nobody. That's not true either. Don't ever let yourself think that. You do need people. You do need somebody. You need yourself to believe in yourself. So, no one is self-made.
I do want to highlight though that your qualities as a man, you mentioned being punctual. You've mentioned being reliable. You've mentioned these certain qualities that you exhibit and created a culture around you, around those qualities, is why somebody like York Records and the other people that you mentioned will refer you to these places, because I'm sure that they trusted you so much that they was like, yo, count on my man John. Not only will he'll be there, but he'll also do an excellent job.
Yeah, the fact, I was just yesterday at Envy's car show, right? It's great for the families. If you haven't been there yet, I recommend you do go. Your kids will not want to leave. You're gonna see a lot of cool stuff there. There's fun. There's, it's cost effective. To get in is only like $30-$40, and if you buy the tickets when they first come out, it's only $20. But your kids are everything in there is free except the food. But I got a lot of food options, and yeah, it meant a lot to me that Envy invited me to go cut hair there, because he does care about his brand and the people that he's catering to and why he does this. And the fact that he asked me to meant a lot, because a lot of times just who it's coming from is a compliment, because they don't play when it comes to their name and their brand. So House of Experts was there giving kids haircuts, and it was an honor to be there.
Yeah.
It really was. It was a great experience. I thank God for that opportunity, and we'll be there next year too.
Yeah, and I think it's important for our audience, especially those who are coming up, to understand that you weren't doing it to get invited by a celebrity. No, you were exhibiting these qualities,
Remember, I
and
was
which
doing.
ended up, which ended up manifesting that. But you weren't doing it for that. You were
No.
doing it because you embodied those positive qualities.
Yeah. Remember that a lot of the stuff that I was doing before you could even know I was doing it, because there was no social media. There was no way for me to promote that I am doing that. And social media, a lot of people be like, I don't like social media because a lot of things are fake. A lot of people are fake. I don't understand why people think that, because my thing is, what is it that you want people to post? An argument with their couple, or bad things that are happening? No, the news does that for you. They give you all the bad news. I'd rather go on social media and see, stuff that makes me laugh. Memes. I love social media. Before, for you to get your product or anything you wanted to the multitude, you had to pay a lot of money to have a commercial. You get me? You could have 0 followers and just run a sponsorship on Instagram, run an ad on Facebook, and reach millions of people with no following. Before, for you to reach people, you had to have money to have a commercial on TV. It was very different to really, really get your stuff out there. It was harder.
Yeah, I think that just like anything else, it's all about what you do with it. Like for my brand and what I represent, it's positivity. But I never said that my life was always positive. You know,
Yeah.
I admit that openly. I'm saying that now. My life isn't always positive. However, what I want to see more of in the world is positivity.
People have not liked my haircuts before. People have not liked every haircut that come on my shop. But you want me to post that? I'm not posting that. I'm not posting somebody that got upset. There's enough negativity going on in the world for me to have to exhibit any negativity that happens in my life.
Indeed.
So you will not see nothing negative about my life on social media. You won't even see the good stuff that really happens in my personal life like that, because on my social media, I'm really only promoting like the barbershop and stuff like that. You get me? A lot of the good stuff that happens and bad stuff that happens is really nobody's business.
Yeah, I do like the fact that you do sprinkle some elements of your personal life, because, like, for example, your daughter and what she's doing with the volleyball, because what that does for somebody like me is like, okay, you can be successful and have a family.
Yeah.
It's like you don't have to give up. And obviously you got to, like you mentioned earlier about the balance thing. However, like, okay, he has a daughter and he's running a business. So it's all possible.
And a teenage daughter at that. Which,
Right.
if you have a daughter and she's a teenager, you know how hard that is.
No doubt.
Damn, it's hard. Wow.
Yeah.
Like, raising a kid is hard.
Super.
Like, oh my God.
Especially in this day and time, because there's so many elements against you. Like, bruh, my daughter, she's 6 years old. She was watching her iPad, and it's a child, supposed to be a child show.
Mm-hmm.
And we see, and I just so happened to be doing some work at my office, and I overheard what she was watching, and I'm like, what? Like, I can't believe that they're promoting this on this show.
Yeah.
Like, I don't
know,
want to
it's
teach.
crazy.
I don't want to
It's
teach
crazy.
that in my home.
It's crazy.
And I'm strategically and purposely not saying specifically what it was. But to me, I was just like, wow, like you can't trust even children's show. So it's just with the agendas that they're striving to force on people, it's making our job as parents even tougher. Because now it's one thing to just strive to do your job as a parent. Now it's like even certain elements that you thought was like neutral ground, it's not neutral ground.
nothing is.
Because they're striving to impose an agenda on your children.
And
bro.
remember that if you see it, if your kid is watching something and it pops up, right, on their thing, just remember that somebody actually had the money to invest to market that. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So, they was branding that
Right.
for a reason.
Right.
And not to get out of topic, but I don't want to end this without saying to the parents who, a lot of times we see other towns, they invest a lot into their youth. Their recreation department is amazing, right? In other towns. But I'm going to say this. Patterson has the best recreation department out of all our neighboring towns. And I'm going to tell you why. Not only because of the fact that I am from Patterson, grew up in Patterson. You get me? I'm Pattersonian to the bone. I personally got involved with the Patterson Recreation Department this summer with the first ever volleyball program that Patterson has had. Me and my daughter started it. Benji Wimberly opened up that door, and the director, Mr. Wimberly, opened up that door, and I got to find out and that for the first time, Patterson is the only camp that you can go to, whether you play basketball, baseball, football, soccer, and now volleyball. If you want to learn, Patterson offers all of that for free. Patterson has a program called Books and Balls. So half the day that you're in the program, you're learning. The other half, you're learning a sport. They have basketball programs ran by people that played overseas from Patterson, or programs that donated from Patterson that played in the NBA. Free. If your kid was home all day doing nothing, they could have been in one of these programs. Last week, Tuesday, the Patterson Recreation had something called Fun in the Sun at Eastside Park. They closed off a certain area of Eastside Park and had like an amusement park there, zip lines, rock climbing, gifts being given to kids that played games. It was a carnival for our kids in the recreation department and staff. It cost thousands of dollars to do that. Patterson did that.
Yeah, I appreciate the fact that the city is definitely investing in the youth and youth activities, because me being a product of a child that wasn't really into activities, I see what happens when you have nothing but time in your hand.
Yeah.
And, and my mother working at the factory, working double shifts.
And peep this. Not only are your kids learning, but instead of being home all day doing nothing, on weekends, the Patterson has two pools. Costello's pool and the Vets pools. I know Costello has a bad rep, but Costello has changed, and it's not what people think. How much does it cost for your kid to go get swimming lessons?
It depends on where you are.
Okay, well, Patterson offers it for free.
Wow. Yeah.
You feel me? Patterson has this program has free trips to American Dream Mall, to the Nickelodeon, and to the DreamWorks. So one is a water park, one is a dry land amusement park for free for your kids to go there for free. All you got to do is don't give your kids $10 to go to a stadium like they did during the week. This week we was at Heathcliff Stadium, and it was amazing. Kids got to watch a baseball game. All they had to do was pay for the food. And guess what? The kids that didn't have the food, the Patterson Recreation picked up thousands of dollar bill. Every kid got to eat hamburger, hot dog, French fries, potato chips, and water.
Yeah, it's good to know. I think that it's important to invest in the city, because investing in the city initially is investing in the people.
So shout out to the director and his staff from the Patterson Board of Recreation, because they really doing their thing. Right. Look into it.
See, not everything in Patterson is bad. Let's get it.
Nah, we growing as a town, as a city, as people.
Salute that, man. You have an amazing story. Thank you for your time. Thank you for dropping by. Any last words?
Nah, thanks for having me. Appreciate this. The Raw Success Podcast coming to an ear near you.
You know that.
Stream it.
How can they find you? How can they get your services?
Hit me up on Instagram at House of Experts or on Facebook, DM or message me. I'm not hard to find. What you see is what you get.
No doubt. And I want to say again, thank you for all the community work you do. Because when I was young, I was one of those children who grew up in a low income household that, you know, a lot of times couldn't afford certain things like a haircut. You know, so just thank you for all the work that you do, my brother.
No, thank you.
Really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Let's get it. Tell a friend to tell a friend, subscribe and share. Yeah.